And the President of the Interparliamentary Union, Dr. Ackson.
Thank you so much, President of the General Assembly, Secretary General of the IPU, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2025 parliamentary hearing here at the United Nations, which is dedicated to the Sustainable Development Goals. And it is a great honor for me to join with you, Mr. President Young, in opening this event. The Sustainable Development Goals, the world's most important global commitment against poverty, inequality, peace, and environmental sustainability, are badly off track. And there remains only 5 years to their deadline of 2030. The IPU and the United Nations system have joined forces to support the implementation of the SDGs since the beginning in 2015. We are proud of our achievements, assisting parliaments with the tools and knowledge to turn the global goals into actionable national plans. As a concrete example, just this past month, the IPU published a new toolkit for parliamentarians, SDGs Informed Legislative Scrutiny, which you can find on our website. At the political level, there have been countless pronouncements over the past 10 years at the IPU as well as at the United Nations. The United Nations General Assembly Resolution 77/159 of December 2022, entitled Enhancing the Role of Parliaments in Accelerating the Achievement of the SDGs, tops the list. And yet, despite all this work, at both operational and political levels, the SDGs are still in trouble. But why? At this meeting, we will take a close look at 3 key factors contributing to this disappointing performance and dedicate ourselves to working harder for this agenda. First, we will look at the politics that keep distracting us from this very important task. We will confront head-on the political reasons why the SDGs have struggled to get traction in so many parliaments. Is there political opposition to this agenda? And where does it come from? Do parliaments and governments underestimate what it is at stake? It is true that we have gone through turbulent times in international relations and in the world economy, and national emergencies keep propping up everywhere. Our politics are divided and very divisive. But none of this should interfere with the SDGs that were adopted by consensus and that everyone thought perfectly doable. In fact, 2015, some experts believed that the SDGs were not ambitious enough. Second, this morning, we will look at the institutional setup that in too many places was neglected or left incomplete. There are various illustrations on this. To this day, just 1/3 of parliaments have meaningful involved in national progress reports that governments submit to the United Nations each year. In many countries, despite the IPU's efforts, parliaments are unaware that their governments are working on such reports. More broadly, while a number of parliaments have set up SDGs committees or groups, these structures are often undercapacitated, unable to focus the legislative agenda on the SDGs. In too many parliaments, still, there is no institutional reflex to connect each bill under the review of the relevant SDG. Colleagues, we have to do better, and we must. What does it take for parliaments to exercise more effective oversight in this arena? Collectively and individually, we must get our houses in order so that all members of parliament are aware of the SDGs and each parliament has effective structures and processes to align legislation with the SDGs. The SDGs require long-term plans at the national level that can only stay on track if they are ingrained in various institutions of government. Third, much of this meeting will focus on financing of the SDGs. That bill is estimated today at $2.5 to $4 trillion over the next 5 years. This discussion will link directly to the preparatory process of the 4th Conference on Financing for Development that is to take place in Spain at the end of June this year. Right next door, colleagues, in the ECOSOC chamber, diplomats from our countries are reviewing the zero draft of the outcome document for that conference, which smartly includes several references to the oversight role of parliaments. We will look in particular at aid, debt, trade, and investments, all areas where parliaments have a direct say, particularly via the budget process. Colleagues, money per se is not the real problem. In a world economy of some $100 trillion, surely we should be able to find or raise resources for the SDGs. Aside from technicalities, the fundamental problem is one of resource distribution. Surely we must act on the principle of solidarity with the most vulnerable and those who have been left behind. Indeed, in a world where 20% of the population consumes 80% of all resources, where most of the productive assets are held by a small group of people, and the entire population go without essential of life despite working very hard every day, we need to do a lot of work, but also we need to do more of solidarity. As parliamentarians, we need to be willing to think less in terms of our own political interests and more in terms of common good. Friends, last year's Summit for the Future concluded with a declaration that included a call for the United Nations to deepen its relation with national parliaments under Action 55. This year's hearing is a golden opportunity to provide a parliamentary perspective on issues of critical importance to the international community and to our constituents at home. I am pleased that the President of the General Assembly will circulate the final report of this meeting to the General Assembly. Please, let's give this discussion our best attention and focus on actionable recommendations to make life better for all and to ensure that no one is left behind. And as I always say, in quoting Nelson Mandela, who once said, "It always seems impossible until it's done." And since it's possible to be done, I will quote another leader, Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere, "It can be done. Play your part." Let's all play our parts. Thank you.
Thank you.